Well, hello everyone, and welcome to LifeWave Connect. We're so happy to be with you here today and really looking forward to having a little bit of time to talk about one of our product lines that I personally really like, and I know many of you are very passionate about as well. For those of you that are new, LifeWave Connect is a space where we come together every other week on Wednesdays at both 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific. We do provide translation services during both of those sessions. In our morning session, we provide translation services for the languages that we support in Europe. And in the evening, we provide translation services for Chinese, Japanese, and Spanish. Again, if this is your first time coming, we welcome you. My name is Emily Hollingshead, and I am the Director of Sales. And today we have a very special guest with us. Because it's a product training, we are so fortunate that we have the opportunity to hear from the inventor of LifeWave technology, our founder and CEO, David Schmidt. For those of you that know David, you know that he's super passionate about these amazing products that we have here. And there's no one better to talk about the benefits and how these things work within our bodies and how they can help us to reverse aging and just have a better quality of life. Now, today, we're going to be talking about the product line Alavida, which is somewhat different from some of our other products because in addition to having a patch product, we have some topical products as well that really aid in the process of reversing aging. But we also want to talk a little bit about the foundations of why we age and what we can do to prevent aging naturally, as well as when you utilize technology that's available to you through the patches and some of the great topical products that we have here at LifeWave through our Alavida trio. So David, are you here with us?
I am right here, Emily, and great to see you and excited about our talk this morning.
Yeah, me too. It's always nice to be able to chat with you, and I appreciate you taking time to share your knowledge with us. We really wouldn't want anyone else besides you talking about this amazing technology. So thank you.
Absolutely happy to do it.
Awesome. Well, I have a lot of questions that I'm really looking forward to talking to you about. I'm really passionate about skincare personally, and so having a system that I can really get behind, but also learn more about is exciting for me. So I'm ready to dive right in if you're ready.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, great. So one of the questions that I've had in the past, and I know many of us have, is why first and foremost, why do we age and why does it show on our faces?
So that's a great question. Aging is rather complicated, but we can simplify our understanding about it by looking at several different factors. First question to address is, when do we actually start aging? And then maybe we can look at why we age. So there, of course, have been many theories as to why people age. It's a critically important question because not only does it affect our lifespan and our health span, but we need to unlock some of these secrets if we are going to change the process and ultimately someday reverse the cycle of aging. So first thing is, aging actually starts when we're about 25. This might be a little bit depressing for people to find out, but that's okay. There's worse things. But it actually starts at about age 25. And this is important to know because now we can monitor what changes are occurring in the cell. So relative to skincare, that age 25 is important because that's when the fibroblasts start to decline in their ability to produce collagen. So collagen, of course, is the most abundant protein in the body. We normally think of it, having lived in California for such a long period of time in La Jolla, well, you mentioned the word collagen, and it's associated with facelifts and lip injections and those kinds of things. But of course, collagen plays a much more important role in the body than just simply cosmetic. Collagen is what makes up the cytoskeleton of the cell, literally provides the framework for our cell and the health of the cell. So not only does our skin suffer as we age because of a decrease in collagen production, but also the overall health and vitality of the cells. So if we're really going to address the appearance of the skin, we have to be able to address the health of the skin as well. Now we get into the next question of why is it that we age? Well, there's a number of factors. Number one, we're up against changes in genetic expression, and this is perhaps the most difficult thing to change. We have a product that actually will do that, improve the health of the skin through changes in genetic expression. We can talk about that in a little bit. Another reason why we age is because of stress. So there is oxidative stress and inflammatory stress. And as we age, the ability of our cells to remove this oxidative or inflammatory stress declines. And these chemicals can harm healthy tissue and leading to cross-linking of the skin and leading to wrinkles. A decline in the body's production of antioxidants, which protect the cells from damage and protect the skin, that declines as we age. So telomeres will shorten, and this is going to have an overall effect on the health of the cells. So the good thing about this is that it's known why we age to a great degree, and now we have tools that can help protect the health of the skin, both from the inside out and the outside in. And that's the approach that we've taken with Alavida. Let's address the problem from both angles.
No, I love that. I think a lot of times we have products that really are just a topical approach that can kind of hide things and improve the appearance of the top layer of the skin, right? But it's not really addressing some of the core issues. You know, a question I do have that relates to this, you know, we start to see things on our face and our neck, and as we get older, based on what you're saying is happening on the inside, do we see a lot of this is mostly genetic based, or is a lot of this really more environment based?
Well, it's a combination, right? So the expression of genes, in other words, you can think of genes as being switches that turn on and off. And as we age, the genes go to a more unhealthy state. And if we want to reverse this cycle, we have to change the genetic expression and flip them back to a more youthful state. All right, so that's part of age reversal research. So it's going to be a combination of what is a person's diet. Is a diet going to be helping or hurting that person? We can be consuming things that we don't even know we have an allergic response to, as why we often promote food allergy tests. So people can know, well, is my diet hurting me or helping me? There's some obvious things that aren't so good for us, right? We should stay away from foods that are smoked and fried and should try to avoid those kind of things. There's an onslaught of environmental toxins. I had seen Brenda Watson give a presentation, and she was citing a study that 100% of the population has environmental toxins in their body, and the average number of toxins is 97. And that was on a clinical study with over 400 people. So what this means is that whether or not we're getting those toxins in from the air we breathe, from the food supply, from the water we drink, or other things, these toxins are getting into our bodies. So we can't be complacent. We have to have a daily strategy of protecting our body through our diet, through hydration. Regular exercise is critically important. Proper amount of sleep, of course, to regenerate and rejuvenate the body, and supplement and technology where needed. So the bad news is that this problem is all around us. It affects all of us. But the good news is that there are solutions to protect us and improve the health of the skin.
I love knowing that, because I think a lot of times some of us don't really realize that it's a combination of both how our bodies are designed to work, how our cells are reproducing based on how we're designed, but it is really the environment and the things that we consume. I know on another webinar you were talking about how it's important that the raw material that we have available to us through the things we eat is so important, because we are what we eat, right?
Absolutely. That's a great point. We sometimes the mindset can be such that, okay, well, I'm wearing the patches. Maybe I'm not drinking as much water as I should, but I'm doing that. Maybe I'm taking a multivitamin, and so I can slip in some other areas. And this is not the correct way to think about it. If we were going to build up a building, and someone showed up on the building site without the steel girders and without the cement to hold everything together, but maybe had some wood and nails, that's not going to be a very strong building, right? You probably couldn't even build it. And the same is true with our body. We shouldn't expect that our body can make beautiful, healthy skin without adequate amounts of protein, adequate amounts of essential fatty acids, and all the vitamins and minerals that we need. So it's important that we take a holistic approach and we really self-examine and take a critical look. This can often be hard for people to face, but it's necessary. Take a critical look at the diet and say, where am I doing things really well, and where are some areas that I could improve? Sugar, not to beat a dead horse about this, but we know how damaging sugar is, right? We often think about it as, okay, we're going to consume too much sugar, and this could lead to hypoglycemia and then, diabetes. So it's better to have a diet lower in sugar. But what we don't think about is how sugar can have an adverse effect on the health and the appearance of the skin. So this is a process known as glycation. And the bad news is that excessive levels of sugar will damage the collagen matrix and can contribute to the process of creating wrinkles. The good news is that there are nutrients like glutathione and carnosine and copper peptide, which are powerful anti-glycation nutrients. Carnosine might be the most powerful naturally occurring nutrient ever discovered to block the process where excessive levels of sugar can damage the skin. So again, bad news, good news, right?
Well, I think the good news is we can limit our sugar intake, right? I mean, it is in so many different foods, but if we're really focusing on those clean, whole foods, we can really make sure that we're not getting a lot of those refined sugars. Is it also sugars in like fruit, or is it more just the refined sugars that's the problem?
Well, refined sugars are going to be straight poison, right? And so even excessive amounts of fruit can be damaging to our health. So it's really about blood sugar control. There's a number of nutrients that will help reduce our risk for diabetes and also at the same time improve the health of the skin. So for example, glutathione is going to be one of those nutrients. Everybody should be on a glutathione supplement. All right, I'm going to make a claim here, and I'm going to not associate this with our patch. So I'm not making a claim about the patch. It was discovered that N-acetylcysteine, or NAC, which is a precursor that elevates glutathione, is critical to our immune function and will in fact prevent and treat COVID. And so everybody should be on an NAC supplement or a glutathione supplement today to protect ourselves from COVID and other viral infections. NAC, because it elevates glutathione, will also help to manage blood sugar. So benefit you get from elevating glutathione with NAC is that it's going to balance your blood sugar, help to reduce your risk of diabetes and hypoglycemia, and also elevate the antioxidant that's protecting the health of the skin and just about everything else in the body. Another nutrient that will do that is alpha lipoic acid. And for those people that are suffering with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, if they take 300 milligrams of controlled release alpha lipoic acid daily, 4 times per day, they can reduce their, number one, if they're type 2 diabetic, they will dramatically reduce their blood sugar levels. But if they're a type 1 diabetic, they can reduce, clinical studies show they can reduce their insulin needs by over 60%. So that's really life-changing. The other benefit, of course, relative to our conversation today is that alpha lipoic acid, in addition to managing blood sugar, is great for the skin, and why you see alpha lipoic acid in some skincare formulas. But I think it's better to take it internally. If you're not a diabetic, then once a day is fine.
Wow, I really love knowing what some of the nutrients are that we can utilize, because I think a lot of times we hear a lot of alternate things that are being preached in Hollywood or whatever, what you can do to look young. I mean, for instance, I have a lot of friends that will say, "Oh my gosh, you haven't started Botox yet? Are you crazy? You have to start now." No, I'm serious. If you don't start now, you're never going to be able to catch up. Have you heard some of those things, and what are your opinions on that?
Well, to me, these types of interventions, it's an individual's choice, right? If somebody wants to use that, that's all fine, but it's not really anti-aging. It's purely a cosmetic effect. And our interest here in our research and as a company is we're really concerned about the health and the vitality of an individual. And even right down to the skin, when we're approaching cosmetics, we want to come back to this philosophy of it's about the health and vitality of the skin. So what can we do to improve health and vitality? We don't want to just simply cover up lines and wrinkles. What it is that we want to do is get at the root cause and try to prevent them from occurring, and also help to diminish the appearance of the lines and wrinkles. Because if we can do that, that means the health of the body is improving, not just the health of the skin. And that really should be what it's all about.
No, I hear that. It reminds me of my biology days, back in the day when they would talk about how the skin is actually one of the largest organs in the body, and how a holistic approach to health is probably one of the most important pieces of having a healthy skin and to look young and vibrant. So what I'm hearing from you is that holistic approach, what we're eating, what we're drinking, our sleep, just like you talk about with all of the health that we discussed and the patches that can support, that's really going to make the biggest difference in our ability to truly have some control over what's happening within our body.
Yeah, absolutely. And the things that we're talking about are incredibly simple. So let's talk about, essential fatty acids just for a second. That can be as simple as taking 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil per day. I've had the opportunity to listen to interviews on people that live over the age of 100. And some of them, what they say is, they have been consuming olive oil their entire life. So it has some interesting anti-aging properties. It's a very powerful anti-inflammatory because of the high content of monounsaturated fatty acids. It also is a great source of oleic acid, which is an antiviral, so it can protect the health and immune system. Also, oleic acid has some benefits for women in blocking breast cancer, for men as well with prostate cancer. So we get all these enormous benefits, and the short-term benefit is that it can help beautify our skin. So this would be like a simple dietary change, just having pure extra virgin olive oil, preferably organic. So when we're talking about making some changes for people's health and skin, it's generally they're simple and not very expensive.
No, I love that. And olive oil is delicious too. So I think that
delicious,
certainly helps. Well, you brought up collagen earlier, right? And how it's something that's really common in our body and one of those building blocks that we're utilizing in the skin. And it's such a craze right now. Collagen's everywhere. Every company sells collagen, and there's liquid forms, and there's powder forms, and there's creamers and coffee. For someone who's looking to follow some of the things you're suggesting here with our diet and supplementing, do you think collagen is another holistic approach that's helpful? And what's good collagen?
Yeah, so first, there's nothing wrong with supplementing with collagen, and it can have a number of interesting health benefits. But ultimately, what we want to do, if we think of what is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, that we're shooting for, that we can attain. And ultimately, it's going to be, we want to tell the library of information in our body, our genes, make the same levels of collagen that we did when we were 25 years old, right? Because that's when we start aging. If we can do that, we don't ever have to worry about supplements by and large. We can just make sure that our diet is in place and then supplement really where needed. But we wouldn't have to supplement with collagen as long as we're getting adequate amounts of protein. So I think ultimately that's the direction, and that's what we have to achieve. So could we do that with LifeWave patches? Actually, yes. We can elevate collagen production with existing LifeWave patches. So for example, what's been shown in independent studies is that when you elevate copper peptide, and this is with our X39 patch, copper peptide turns back on collagen production in the fibroblasts. So this is one of the reasons why just using X39, we see people get great results at diminishing the appearance of lines and wrinkles. Our Nirvana product, interestingly enough, Nirvana was designed to elevate beta endorphins, and this helps improve the mood. But what was discovered about that, normally beta endorphins are very transitory, right? They're feel-good chemicals. So I know you love to work out like I do. Yep. And you go to the gym and you're pretty intense about it. I don't know how many people know that you're a gym rat, right? Mm-hmm. And so you go to the gym, you work out, and then you come back and you're on that high. Those are the beta endorphins, right? Mm-hmm. So, but with Nirvana, you can keep the beta endorphins elevated, and the surprising effect, this is actually quite biblical, the surprising effect from that is that it will turn back on collagen production in the fibroblasts. I'm gonna be doing a talk on this at our upcoming convention in November. But what's interesting is that when you look at the Bible, sometimes people think of God was punishing people back in the Old Testament by saying, here's the 10 commandments, here's the laws that you have to follow. And that's not really the case. What I mean by that is those 10 commandments were instructions for a good life, meaning that if you're going to go out and murder somebody, you're probably not going to have a very good life, right? You end up in jail or, being died. But if we skip forward to the New Testament, what's so interesting is Jesus said, I can sum up the laws this way: love one another as I've loved you. And what was he doing? He was out healing people. Well, what's so interesting about that, about the emotion of love, is that it triggers an increase in oxytocin and it changes our brain chemistry. And that state of love actually is highly anti-aging. In other words, if you take the cells of somebody that's in their 80s and you start to subject them to different neuropeptides like oxytocin, it will rejuvenate collagen production in the body, and it will reverse the age of the cell, where the cells will appear more youthful. So the bottom line message is that people that live in a state of loving others are far healthier and have better skin than those that do not. And I think sometimes that's self-evident. So the bottom line is love others if you want to have healthy skin, right? That'd be a self-motivating purpose, but then love others to make the world a better place too, right? So
for sure.
Jesus gave some great advice.
I like that. Certainly there's a lot of benefits to loving others. And if it helps us to have beautiful skin on top of it,
there you go. That's my message for the day. Love others for better skin. That's my message for the day.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. I didn't realize that was a thing beyond just helping us feel better and enjoying our lives a little bit more. I didn't know it impacted our skin as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think, what I had planned to do for the November convention is show some slides where you can see what happens when people are living under stress, anxiety, anger, depression, physiologically, what is going on in the body. and you can see how destructive it is. And then you go into the positive emotions of peace, joy, love, and you can see the body responds incredibly and goes into a state of health. The nervous system calms down, the hormones balance out, and the body literally performs like a younger body. So there's some really great motivation behind wanting to live in this state of peace and helping others. And, not only is it great for society, but we'll live longer, we'll live healthier, and have better quality of life.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't wait to hear that presentation. I bet it's just going to be so enlightening for all of us. That's exciting.
I'm looking forward to it too. I haven't written it yet. So it's just it's just a child in the mind right now, but I'm getting there. So.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be awesome. We always love your perspective on things. And, I think there's definitely something to what you're sharing with us. We look to those that are in a space of mindfulness and do daily meditation, and like even just monks and the way that they live and the non-existence of health concerns. I wonder if it plays into what you're talking about there.
Well, I like to think that vegans are going to have the last laugh. I go through periods where I practice a vegan lifestyle, but my self-indulgent thing in life is sushi. I love sushi. I love chocolate and ice cream, and so I do those in some moderation. So I can't quite get away from my love of seafood. But from the perspective of age reversal and anti-aging, there's a lot to aspire to in a vegan lifestyle that's balanced. There can be, if the food is organic, lower levels of toxins. Meat eaters have a little bit more to contend with contaminants in the food. These can all be dealt with, by the way. So meaning that if someone is not a vegan, totally fine. And as long as you're keeping your lymphatic system filled with glutathione and water, right? As long as we're keeping our glutathione levels elevated and exercising regularly, drinking lots of water, keeping the lymphatic system flush, we're fine. So it doesn't mean that you have to be a vegan, but sometimes I think in the big picture, vegans might have the last laugh. We'll see. Jury's out.
I'm with you. I definitely enjoy seafood. I love some steak sometimes, and chocolate. Oh heavens, I don't think I can give that up. But
no chocolate. I only said that because of the sugar. So I'm a dark chocolate eater. But for dark chocolate, the interesting thing is I know a scientist who believes the key to immortality will be discovered in chocolate. And he's trying to isolate, he's got a reason for believing that, and he's trying to isolate a specific peptide in chocolate to turn on the immortality process. But there's a lot of good reasons to eat chocolate. There are polyphenols in chocolate that are going to reduce inflammation in the prostate, so it's great for men, loaded with antioxidants, so it's good for overall health and a whole bunch of other benefits. Also, it's a source of copper. So for those folks in our community, which is just about everybody using X39, you can get your daily chocolate. If it's a nice, rich cacao chocolate, you'll have a rich source of copper, and that will help to support X39.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that because I do love chocolate.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Totally fine. Yeah. No,
well,
nothing wrong with
now that you've been talking a little bit about the copper peptide, you've talked about a few of our patches, X39. For those that are new, can you briefly explain how our patches work? So like, what is the technology? What is being leveraged? I definitely want to talk more about the whole Alavida trio, but I think it's really important for everyone to understand how the patches work.
Yeah, great question. Let's start with that then. So the patches are light therapy devices. They stimulate the skin with very, very low levels of light. So there's nothing in the patch that's going inside the body. It's not a smoker's patch or a dieter's patch. Instead, the patches contain materials that will reflect very low levels of light that stimulate the skin. This is a process called photobiomodulation, but the way most of us are familiar with it is that you go out in the sun and sunlight will elevate your levels of vitamin D, right? And we need our vitamin D to protect us from COVID. Over 80% of the people that die of COVID have low levels of vitamin D. So we want to get outside or take a vitamin D supplement. But anyway, we turn on vitamin D production in the body with light. It's that process. So the patches do something similar. They stimulate the skin with light and they turn on a biochemical process. In the case of X39, we're elevating copper peptide to activate the stem cells. In the case of the glutathione patch, we're turning on production of glutathione to support our overall health and vitality. And in the case of Alavida, it's very interesting. Alavida will elevate a peptide in the pineal gland called epithalamine. And epithalamine was discovered by a Dr. Kavinsin in Russia. And he found that this peptide was associated with longevity and immune health. And one of the things we found in our research is that the Alavida patch reduces oxidative stress. As a matter of fact, let me see. I want to show you an image here that I think everyone will find of interest. Let me just pull it up real quick.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, we did. This is from a presentation that we did back some time ago when we first started to market Alavida. And this is a piece of equipment that we have in our laboratory called the biopulsar. So at our labs, we will test new products, patches, and other things that we develop. So there's other products that are coming to LifeWave other than patches, I should say that. And we use a variety of different techniques to measure the bioelectrical activity of different parts of the body. And what we've done is we've taken the graphs. If you looked at the output, it would look like an EEG. We're measuring 48 different zones in the body at once. And so the traditional graph on this looks like an EEG, so it's difficult to read. So that all of that information gets condensed into a picture so you can easily see the before after. So this reading is from a man that's 62 years old. And ideally what we want to see is this turquoise color here everywhere. When you see these different colors, this is a disruption in the flow of energy through the body. By reading the graphs that are associated with this image, you can tell if the organ is in a hypoactive or hyperactive state, and if the flow of energy is nice and smooth, or if it's erratic. So this would be a person that has some health problems. This is 5 minutes after applying the Alavida patch. What we can see is that there's an extraordinary level of coherence. And this is evidenced by the change in color. This turquoise color would be considered perfect. When we see these gray areas, that means the reading was unstable, so it just shows as a null. So there's no reading there. These blue areas are showing some activity in the brain, and again, that's totally fine. So when we got down to measuring this, we found the reason why this shift was occurring is because of a reduction in oxidative stress.
Wow.
Now, this is from a woman, 43 years old, and I happen to know that this woman was dealing with a number of very serious health problems at the time, and the biopulsar was able to pick that up. We applied the Alavida patch, and there was a dramatic change within 5 minutes. It doesn't mean that her illnesses and problems were going away. What it meant was that her levels of oxidative stress were dropping, and now bioelectrical energy can flow through the nervous system more easily. And that's going to help to support overall health and wellness. So, this is all to say that the Alavida patch produces some dramatic results. and it will do it very, very quickly.
Wow. That's incredible. I appreciate you sharing those images. It just shows both in male and female in your two subjects there, just the dramatic change in their bodies. That's incredible.
Yeah. And, we followed that up, Emily, with a study that we did at a laboratory in California. And they're a company that tests cosmetic products. So we went through a double-blind, placebo-controlled study, and we saw it for ourselves there, that we hit statistical significance with the Alavida system at improving the health and vitality of the skin and also reducing the appearance of lines and wrinkles. So the product made it out of our laboratory and into clinical studies and then into the real world. And we find out, yeah, it does hold up under both, and people get great results with it.
I love that. I know we have some really great before and after photos that people can access on myalavida.com, as well as the clinical studies I believe that you're referencing, and some additional information about ingredients and exactly what's in the topical products. So we won't go too deep into that today, but for anyone that's looking for those specific details, you can find a ton of great information about the system there. So I'd recommend you look at it. David, you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that our approach to age reversal within our face and skin is really an inside and outside approach combined together. Can you talk to me a little bit about that and how Alavida is special in that way?
Yeah. So if we think about what's affecting the overall health and vitality of the skin, then we'll be thinking about oxidative and inflammatory stress. So first thing that we should realize is that all the biochemistry in the body is there for a reason. And so oxidative stress is healthy when the cell is using that for, let's say, controlling bacteria, viruses. We could be injured, and oxidative stress is absolutely critical at helping us to reduce risk of infection. Inflammatory stress can help to tear down diseased tissue or old tissue and make room for new healthy tissue. So first thing to understand is that when we talk about oxidative and inflammatory stress, it's a natural process and it's there for a reason, and we need it. The problem occurs is that when we go to a state where this stress becomes chronic and now accumulates and can damage healthy tissue, that's when it can become damaging. So products like Alavida and AEON can do a wonderful job at helping to reduce the impact on this type of stress on the body, which is ultimately going to support the health of the skin. So the idea here is that if we just look at skincare as a cosmetic, if we just look at skincare as we're going to apply these ingredients, preferably natural ingredients, to our skin, and we want to improve the health of the skin from the outside or protect it, that's fine. If we're working with natural ingredients that can protect the skin from, let's say, excessive UV light or environmental toxins, that's totally fine. But that's not going to go as far as we need to really improve the health of the skin, right? So how do we do that? Well, again, we build up our foundation. We have a clean diet, drink lots of water, take supplements where necessary, get proper rest, exercise. And then when we use a technology like the patches for managing oxidative and inflammatory stress, now the skin is in an environment where it's not being damaged, so it can thrive. And that's really the goal. Remove this stress so the skin can do what it's designed to do.
No, I love that. I think that is something that's really missing in modern skincare approaches and just what people are exposed to as options. So I love that we do have that foundation of health that we could lean on, but also the patches that are working on the inside, and then the topicals that can aid in that overall appearance immediately. So talk to me a little bit. I don't want to dive too much into the ingredients. Like I mentioned, that can be found on my alavida.com, but I think it's important for us to just share here on this webinar. You mentioned clean ingredients, right? So what is the kind of our approach to the ingredient base for our topicals, as far as like what's in them, and then maybe what's not in them, I think can be really important to state.
Yeah, so sure thing. So the first thing is, I'm not a cosmetic scientist or a medical doctor. And so I had a very specific goal in creating Alavida, and I wanted to work with someone that was at the top of their field. And so we have a scientist that we work with. His name is Glenn Ryan, and Glenn has done quite a few studies with us over the years on our products. And Glenn had worked at Estee Lauder as a research scientist. So I went to Glenn and I said, "Hey, I need to hire somebody. I've got a concept for a skincare system, but I want to work with a skincare scientist, a cosmetic scientist that's an expert. Can you recommend someone?" He goes, "I know exactly the guy, multiple patent holder, and nobody knows more about skincare than this guy." So we had a telephone conversation. I said, "This is what I want to do with the skincare system." He said, "Well, that's pretty ambitious, but let me see how I can help you out." So we started to get together and throw around some ideas, and eventually he helped us develop this concept. And basically the idea was, we wanted to start with a base of algae oil, and algae oil that would be rich in DHA. So DHA is an essential fatty acid. It's an omega-3. It's anti-inflammatory. It's found naturally throughout the body, and it declines with age. So, and it will act as a natural moisturizer. So we knew that a microalgae oil was going to be at the center of this. And then what he did that was really brilliant is he started to complement these the algae oil with other oils and things like rice seed oil, moringa butter, macadamia oil, for the purpose of mimicking the natural profile of oils that are already in the skin. So what that would mean is the product would both not be oily when you apply it, and it would act as a carrier for the ingredients, the actives that we were putting into the skin. And this all had to be natural, and we didn't want to use any type of synthetic ingredients. We then used other products like a fat-soluble vitamin C, milk peptides. And what this is going to do is both protect the skin, turn on production of hyaluronic acid, turn on collagen protein synthesis, and reduce the appearance of lines and wrinkles. So what you end up with is a natural product. We didn't include any sulfates or phthalates, nothing that's going to be harmful to the skin. So it's a natural product that is not going to be greasy, but adds natural oils into the skin and ingredients that will help preserve the moisture of the skin, as well as increase collagen production, so that long-term use leads to reduction in lines and wrinkles. So, and that's super important, because when we apply something to the skin, it gets into the body. You know, I'm horrified when I see skincare products with synthetics like silicone. I don't want silicone in my body. Why are they putting it in skincare, right? It's kind of crazy, and other things. So yeah, if you think about it from the point of view that skincare products eventually make it their way into the blood, we should only be putting things on the skin that are natural. So that's something I love. Alavida, I've been using it since the day before we released it, when it was a final product, and I'm never going back to anything else.
I'm with you. It's an amazing skincare line. I have very sensitive skin, so I have to be very careful about what I use. And this is a great skincare line. Like you mentioned, there's just not a lot of garbage in there, and it's really amazing ingredients. And I kind of wanted to dive in a little bit more into what you said around what we're putting on our skin. I know so many of us are being really careful about what we eat and whether something's organic or not, or just trying to make sure that our diet is clean, in addition to all the other things that you've talked about with a holistic approach to health. But I think we sometimes completely forget that when you put something on your skin, it's being absorbed into your skin so quickly. And, people, to your point, will put silicones and other things. Are there any things that we should be really looking out for when maybe we're using a body lotion or something else topically that we should be looking out for, knowing we don't have any of those bad ingredients in our skincare line?
Yeah, actually, I have a slide on this. So the formula doesn't include any of these types of ingredients. So these are all things that people should look for when they're going to be using a skincare product, or like you say, we don't have an Alavida body lotion today, maybe in the future. So for people using those types of products, this would be, what you would look for. Some other things that I would add to this is in terms of sunscreen. Titanium dioxide, of course, is the most common ingredient that's used to protect people from the sun. I have a very, very different take on this. I never use sunscreens. I should say almost never. And I've been living in Florida now for a while, and I prefer to protect my skin from the inside out by elevating nutrients like copper peptide that can protect from UV damage, and carnosine, another one. So I do have some concerns about the titanium dioxide that are in skincare products to protect the skin from UV light. I also have a little bit of concerns that we need UV light. For example, UV light is going to turn on vitamin D production. For men, big problem that they face as they age is they can get declining levels of testosterone. And yet, if you take your shirt off and you expose the androgen receptors in the trapezius muscles on your back, on your shoulders to UV light, you can elevate your testosterone levels. But if you've got a sunscreen there, you're going to inhibit that process. So that's a short list. But I think what I'd say is that we want to encourage people to be thinking through things when you're buying food, you're buying products that you're going to be exposed to be thinking about, okay, what's in here? What am I buying? Is this what we're being told? Like there's a big push now on to go vegan, and what's being promoted is like the Impossible Burger and Beyond Burger, right? They're saying, oh, it's vegan. Well, we should be concerned about that because the Impossible Burger got approved by the FDA. It's a genetically modified food, and there's proteins in the Impossible Burger that haven't been identified yet. So it's unconscionable to me that the FDA would approve this. It's not something that I would consume. The Beyond Burger is, I'm not aware of any GMOs in it, but it does have canola oil, and canola oil is something that human beings should not be consuming. So this is all to say that, we need to all educate ourselves and be critical thinkers when it comes to what we're putting in our body, what we're consuming, and what we're applying to our skin, which will make it into our body. Can't be perfect all the time, but, set up a fence. If we're 80 or 90% of the way there, I think that's pretty good.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'll just reiterate what you shared before, making sure our glutathione levels are elevated consistently can help with maybe that 20% of things that are getting in without us being able to really fully manage. So,
yeah. And, the other side, because we do have so many people that are vegans or vegetarians in our community, I would really encourage them to include foods in their diet where they have a source of cysteine. So the traditional foods would be things like eggs and whey protein, which are rich in the amino acid cysteine, and you need the amino acid cysteine to make glutathione. So if someone is a strict vegan or they're a vegetarian and they're not getting enough cysteine in their protein sources, then I'd recommend a supplement like N-acetylcysteine, so that they're getting enough and they can support their detoxification. And the beauty of that is they can give themselves an additional layer of protection from COVID. And that gives people peace of mind. So I think that's a great thing.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of us are concerned with COVID, and having some things that we can do that are natural and that we can access it brings a lot of comfort. So I appreciate you sharing those techniques too.
Yeah, absolutely. I have some real issues with the government not promoting things like, why don't we see the government talking about, get out in the sun and get your vitamin D, elevate your glutathione. So we've done webinars on them, so don't need to get into this discourse now. But the point is that people can take their health into their own hands and do things to dramatically improve their odds that they're going to get through COVID and be just fine.
Absolutely. Well, talking about what people can do, I'd love to dive in just a little bit on how to utilize the system. So if you could maybe quickly, because we're almost out of time here, if you could quickly go over the two topical ingredients and the patch and talk about how to use them, when we can expect to start to see some results ourselves. And specifically on the patch, I know everyone always wants to know, where do I put the patch and how long do I wear it?
Sure. Well, first thing is we want to encourage people to take really good quality before after photos, because Emily, you know that all the time we're getting in these remarkable testimonials. And the best ones, of course, are when people take the photos in the same type of lighting conditions. So we want to make sure. And it's really cool to see how much your skin improves over a period of time. So yeah, that would be the first thing. Before you start using any of these things, take a good before picture. And then let's say at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, take additional pictures. So we generally see that results will start in about 6 to 8 weeks when we're talking about reduction in lines and wrinkles. So that would be probably a good indicator. Of course, people can start to feel a difference right away. A very popular combination, of course, is X39 during the day and then the Alavida patch in the evening. We have in our instructions a number of places to apply the Alavida patch. If we keep in mind that the patch is designed to stimulate the pineal gland, which is right in the center of the brain, then the nerve endings for that gland are, interestingly enough, right here. And somehow thousands of years people knew that because they talked about this activating the light of the body, which the pineal gland very much is. So applying the Alavida patch right there on your temple, even on the side of the neck, can be okay on the right side. And you apply it before bedtime and then just simply take it off when you wake up in the morning. In terms of the topicals, the way that they're designed is that the day formula is applied after you wash and clean your face in the morning, and then the nighttime product in the evening. One of the things that we found was because of the high vitamin C content of the night cream formula is that it does wonders for relieving sunburn. We just got through summer, and of course, but some people live in tropical climates, but that was something that we discovered quite by accident, that applying the Alavida night cream to a sunburn can provide just about instant relief. So that's another benefit to the product. So
I love that. I've actually heard from some ladies that applying the night cream to create the parts of the skin on the arms or even extremities can actually kind of help to firm up and to just improve the quality of the tone of the skin. Have you seen that in any of the clinical results?
We have, as a matter of fact, and we've certainly gotten testimonials about that. Yeah, and again, it's really going to come down to the natural delivery system, the natural oils that are in the product, and the vitamin C is going to trigger repair of damaged collagen structures, and the milk peptides are going to turn on hyaluronic acid and new collagen production in the cell. So that's why it's going to address, creepy skin.
Oh, I love that. Well, we're pretty much out of time. So just as a final thought, in like a little nugget of information, why is the Alavida Trio awesome and a great system to use? Why should everyone use it?
Well, everyone should use it because it's the only skincare system that really tackles the problem of skincare health and vitality from working on the inside out and the outside in. It's a very comprehensive system. And also, unlike other systems, it's going to provide some longevity benefits and some health benefits. So from that perspective, I think it's pretty awesome.
I think it's awesome too. And so anyone who hasn't tried it yet, I mean, you've heard what David has shared today. This is really an amazing product. It's great for sensitive skin, and it really truly has some benefits. You're going to see something which we all love. So David, thank you so much for sharing with us today and really giving us some new insights into this product. I mean, the story about who developed this product line with you is interesting to know, and just really continuing to emphasize the need for the holistic approach to health. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Emily. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And I want to thank each of you for being here with us. For those that this is your first call, thank you for joining us. Those that show up every single time we have our LifeWave Connects, thank you so much. If you have new people who have joined your team, or you have people that you know in your community that might be interested in learning a little bit more about the products, this is a great way for them to get exposure. And you feel free to invite them. Simply register by utilizing one of the links on our website in our events section, and you'll get reminded via Zoom every time we're having one of these webinars. So we hope, again, that you enjoyed this presentation. The replay will be available on our YouTube channel within a week in all associated languages, or you can definitely check it out on our Facebook pages, as we play it there live every time we have one of these LifeWave Connects. We look forward to seeing you on our next LifeWave Connect, as it'll be focused on business training. We definitely have some great things in store for you. Thanks again, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye now.